have a classic example of a beautiful aerial window with the many, many kings and queens of England on display. Of course, you get a much better view when you're inside the building, when the glass is illuminated in colour. So here we are in front of the famous aerial window here at Samlesbury Hall. These beautiful stained glass coats of arms depict the kings and queens of Great Britain. My favourite has to be King James I of England, a very, very superstitious man, and a man who believed that witches really existed. He was not very popular in this part of the world because he had 12 local people sent from Pendle Hill to Lancaster on a charge of witchcraft. He also had a young lady from Samlesbury Hall sent there, a lady called Jane Southworth. She was sent to Lancaster, put on trial at Lancaster City Castle, but was luckily found not guilty. She returned here a free woman, but also a very relieved woman. So King James I, not very, very popular with the people of Pendle, and indeed Pendle Hill itself. Here in the Great Hall, this beautiful fireplace would have once been a mini bonfire in the centre of the room. And of course the smoke would have escaped through a hole in the ceiling just up there. You can judge just how tall this is. I'm nearly 6 foot and that must be at least 8 foot tall. The Southworths were described as local bullies. They owned land up to Cumbria in the north and right down to Warrington in the south. They were king's men and they did produce foot soldiers for the Battle of Agincourt and indeed the Battle of Flodden Field way back in 1513. What I really love about the Great Hall is this fantastic minstrel's gallery. Beautiful wooden panelling, and if that panelling could talk, it would bring back some amazing events through many, many centuries. When the Braddles bought the building, they had a lot of the original panelling taken away and sent up to Coningshead in Cumbria. Now this room is known as the parlour, but many people call it the Tudor room. Above the door to our left we have King Henry VIII, and just behind me we have King Henry's last wife, Catherine Parr from Kendal in South Cumbria. This room was loved by Mr. Thomas Southworth, and here he is. And there's his lovely wife behind us, Anne Southworth. There's nothing they like more than spending those cold, cosy December and January nights here with a golden glowing fire emanating from the fireplace. One of the most beautiful features at Samlesbury Hall is this gorgeous fireplace designed by a gentleman called Mr. Nicholas Owen. What makes this fireplace so unique is not only the beautiful coats of arms regarding the Southworth family, but here we have evidence of a priest hole. It's very, very cleverly concealed here. I can assure you, this is very, very, very solid, and this is very, very hollow. There is Thomas's name there, and there's his lovely wife right next to him. It's said when he departed this earth, being a typical Catholic, he had a wake, and apparently for 2 days he was laid in his coffin on a trestle in front of his beloved fireplace. This was, of course, his favourite building within Samlesbury Hall. Well, here we are in the chapel. It has another name, it's known as the Whitaker Room, but here we are in the 21st century and you can actually get married here at Samlesbury Hall. The second owner of Samlesbury Hall were the Braddle family. Now the Braddle family were very, very wealthy people. They came from Whalley near Clitheroe. They also owned Whalley Abbey. As a direct result, a lot of the original Whalley Abbey windowsills have been brought here from Whalley and installed here in the chapel by the Braddle family. And now let's have a look at the ceiling. The ceiling is actually an extension of the long gallery, one of my favourite parts of Samlesbury Hall. I must say, if these timbers could talk, they'd tell us some great stories. I must say, when visitors arrive here at Samlesbury Hall, they do find this beautiful coat of arms quite fantastic. What I like really is their colours, but also this amazing date here, 1588. That's when Queen Elizabeth I defeated the Spanish Armada, one of the most famous days in the history of Great Britain. Well, here we are in the parlour. Samlesbury Hall boasts 3 priest holes. We've seen the one next door. This is the second one. And you'll see just behind the fireplace here, this little alcove where priests could hide when the king's soldiers arrived. Let's look at the owners of Samlesbury Hall. This is the second owner, Mr. Gale John Bradall from Worley, near Clitheroe. And on the far wall here, we have Mr. Joseph Harrison. He was indeed a Blackburn cotton baron, a very, very wealthy chap. And he ploughed a lot of money into Samlesbury Hall. Let's now make our way upstairs to the long gallery. This beautiful staircase was installed by the Harrison family around the 1870s. Just look at this beautiful wood carving, which continues right up the banisters, right to the very top. Here we are in the long gallery, my favourite part of Samlesbury Hall. You'll notice we've got 2 fireplaces here. That's because in those days, central heating didn't exist. You're probably wondering why there's so much furniture around here. Well, we have furniture auctions that take place on a regular basis. Samlesbury Hall, of course, has weddings, auctions, and lots of guided tours. This fireplace had a very, very unhappy event that took place in August 1878, where sadly William Harrison took his own life after being informed that the Scottish Bank had just collapsed. The ceiling here is quite awesome, and when I first came here a few years ago, it was in danger of actually collapsing. They spent £250,000 repairing the ceiling, and it'll be here for many centuries to come. Here in the long gallery, we are reminded of the wealth of the Harrison family. You will see many pictures on the wall depicting scenes from Darwin, from Blackburn, from Preston, where, of course, the Harrisons had many, many cotton factories, all producing quality cloth. In fact, the cotton workers of Lancashire used to boast, "Let's clothe Great Britain before breakfast and the rest of the world afterwards." That's exactly what they did do. Well, here we are in one of the most famous rooms at Samlesbury Hall, a room known simply as the priest's room. Way back in the 1580s, a priest called John South arrived here to gain protection, sanctuary. Of course, this house was a safe house for Catholic priests. He had no idea that he'd been followed by troops loyal to King Henry VIII, who surrounded the building, broke open this very door, and found the priest deep in prayer. The poor chap was executed by beheading in this very room. They say his blood stained the floor, and any attempt to clean the floor didn't seem to work. Until 1898, when the floorboards were taken out by Mr. Frederick Baines. He then replaced them with brand new Victorian floorboards. But to this very day, they still show signs of staining. Here we have the legend of the White Lady, a story that stems from 2 young lovers. He was allegedly murdered, she was banished and died in exile, and is reputed to search the area in search of her long lost love.